Nile is the longest river in the world, with a length of 6,650 kilometers, covering an area of 6,640 square meters. Its annual water volume is 84 billion cubic meters. Despite the equitable use of the resource still remains controversial, the River Nile is equivalently significant for all the riparian countries.
Nile ተፋሰስ 11 ሀገራት የያዘ ተፋሰስ ነው.
The Nile River Basin comprises 11 countries. Most of these countries are mainly characterized by poverty, civil war, and instability, among other challenges. We can categorize the nations as upper and lower riparian countries. Lower riparian includes Egypt and Sudan, while the remaining 9 countries, including Eritrea and South Sudan, are under the upper riparian region.
The Nile Basin includes 11 countries together with the origin of the river, Ethiopia. Owing to the agreement between Egypt and the Sudan signed in 1929 and 1959, Ethiopia was sidelined from being the direct beneficiary of the Nile waters. However, it offers 70% of the water coverage. This has resulted in unbalanced utilization of the resource among the member countries. Realizing the situation, Ethiopia has been busy working to reverse the trend over the past 2 decades. In fact, the nation seems to have achieved a lot in this regard.
There was an attempt to benefit only Egypt through agreements. Those agreements were made during the era of colonialism and are in favor of Egypt. As it was not part of the deal and an independent country, Ethiopia is not abided by such treaties. Later on, when it declared its independence, the Republic of Sudan negotiated with Egypt over the utilization of the Nile water. Accordingly, the 2 nations signed agreement to fully control the water amongst them. Ethiopia has been pushing towards mutual benefit and equitable share of the river since then now.
The position and voice of Ethiopia regarding equitable share and utilization of the River Nile has paved way for the formation of Nile Basin Initiative. Mainly engaged in technical works, the initiative has also managed to conduct a survey related to fair and equitable utilization of the River Nile among the riparian countries.
ተደረጉ ጥናቶችን በመዳሰስ አሁን ግድቡ በነበረበት በዛ በጥናት ወቅት የነበረበትን ደረጃ በማየት ያሰራሩን ጥራት የመሳሰሉት እንዲሁም በታችኛው ሀገሮች ላይ ያለው ተጽዕኖ.
There are surveys conducted on the dam. The international panel of experts has been set up with the aim of evaluating the impact of the dam upon the lower riparian countries and other related issues. The panel has properly performed its duties. Regarding the Renaissance Dam, Ethiopia's position is clear. It is based on the spirit of cooperation and creating better neighborhood. Over 150 documents on the construction of the dam have been investigated by the International Panel of Experts, which comprises of 2 representatives from Ethiopia, Sudan and Egypt each, and 4 international experts from South Africa, Germany, France and Britain. Based on the finding, the panel of experts came up with its suggestion. Ethiopia and Sudan immediately accepted it. Ethiopia did this as it knows very well and confident that the dam benefits all the 3 countries including Egypt.
Ethiopia's pressure in this regard has forced Egypt to negotiate on the equitable water utilization. However, the process of negotiation has shown inconsistency, finally paving the way for Egypt to sign the Nile Basin Initiative Framework Agreement.
The remaining Nile Basin countries hadn't been able to utilize water due to some challenges they used to face. Among them were poverty and the legacy of colonialism left upon them. However, today they have started expressing their interest to use resources for mutual benefit. To this end, they have managed to establish the Nile Cooperation Forum, Nile Basin Initiative, which is supposed to implement the initiative.
Ethiopia has engaged itself in carrying out negotiation with members of the Nile Initiative countries on the other side, working to realize its assignment for development. The construction of Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, which is being constructed on the River Nile, is among such assignments for social and economic prosperity. The construction of the dam is based on fair and equitable use among the riparian countries. In other words, the construction was designed in a way it does not harm both Egypt and Sudan. The construction of the Grand Renaissance Dam, which is being fully financed by Ethiopians, is believed to support all the adjoining countries and even beyond. Therefore, it is considered to be a landmark of cooperation for fair water utilization provided by Ethiopia to the Nile Basin countries.
If we see the progress of the Nile Cooperation Agreement framework so far, all members of the initiative have been engaged in negotiation over the water of Nile since the past 30 years now. So far, 6 countries have signed the agreement dealing with fair and equitable utilization of the water. These are Ethiopia, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi and Kenya. Ethiopia, Rwanda and Tanzania endorsed it, whereas Kenya, Uganda and Burundi are on the process to do so.
Total annual volume of the Nile River is 84 billion cubic meters, out of which 86% comes from Ethiopia. This means Ethiopia contributes 76 billion cubic meters out of its tributaries such as Tekeze, Atbara, Nile and Baro rivers. However, the inconsistent annual flow of the Eastern Nile deterred the down and upstream countries to use the water properly.
The flow of rivers coming from Ethiopian highland is irregular. For instance, if we see the major rivers originating from Ethiopia, such as Nile, Tekeze, Baro and Akobo, they flow only for 3 or 4 months a year. 80% of them flow during winter season, and then they don't hold more water any longer. It is important to work on infrastructure that will enhance the flow of the rivers regularly so that we will be able to benefit from the resources in a proper way.
Ethiopia believes that the construction of the dam would address such irregularities among the riparian countries.
የህዳሴ ግድብ ለሶስቱም ሀገሮች ከፍተኛ ጠቀሜታ ይሰጣል ብለን በጽኑ እናምናለን።
We believe that the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam would benefit all the 3 countries, Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan. The dam would save water. This is very important for Egypt and Sudan as it sends regulated water to them. We know that the upper riparian countries, especially Sudan, suffers from the flood coming from the Nile during the rainy season. The flood doesn't go back to the river. Rather, it is wasted through evaporation. Besides, it affects the socio-economic aspect of the society and its livelihood as well. The flood happened to Sudan in 2016 is one of cases in point. It also claims human and animal lives and destructs farmland as well. The dam is believed to minimize these challenges.
Currently, there is nothing that prevents Ethiopia from developing and using its own resource, as the countries in the Nile Basin have started to realize the fact. They have managed to come to table to negotiate on the matter. In this regard, Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan have established a tripartite forum which has enabled them to conduct a series of negotiations on fair and equitable use of the River Nile and the possible impact of the Grand Renaissance hydropower dam of Ethiopia. Following the tripartite discussion among them, water resource ministers of 3 countries gathered in Khartoum in 2013, where they reached agreement of the mutual benefit principles. The agreement was believed to restore the deteriorating relations among the countries and divert doubt and negative attitude regarding the construction of the dam. This is the result of Ethiopia's diplomacy work that aimed to ease the deadlock used to exist between Ethiopia and Egypt over utilization of the Nile water in one hand and promote the principle of mutual benefit on the other. This has paved the way for the countries to come out of the negative attitude that was leading them to mistrust. Rather, they have been focusing on the principle of mutual benefit and spirit of fraternity. The conference that was held in Uganda, Kampala for the first time to discuss the matter can be taken as one of the showcases in this connection.
ክቡር ጠቅላይ ሚኒስትራችን አቶ ኃይለማርያም ደሳለኝ የሱዳኑ ፕሬዝዳንት ኦማር ሐሰን አልበሽርና የግብጽ ፕሬዝዳንት አብዱልፈታህ አልሲሲ የፈረሙበት የመሪዎች መግለጫ ስምምነት
Ethiopian Prime Minister Haile Mariam Desalegn, Sudanese President Omar Hassan al-Bashir and Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi signed Declaration of Principles that enable them to cooperate in 2015, promoting cooperation and mutual benefit, fair and appropriate water utilization, avoiding significant harm among countries, settling possible disagreement and strengthening neighborhood are some of the points put in the agreement.
Based on the Khartoum Agreement, the 3 countries have set up a professional and technical team in charge of undertaking a survey on the impact of the Renaissance Dam. In fact, the team has accomplished its duties. Similarly, the Tripartite Committee has established an international expert panel in which representatives of the 3 countries and 4 international experts are included. Ethiopia believes that the construction of the dam would not result in any security threats.
እንጠቀማለን ስንል ግብጽ እየተጎዳች ነው ያልን አይደለም አላልንም.
When we say we will benefit from the River Nile, we don't mean that the right of Egypt needs to be compromised or the nation needs to be harmed. We are saying that let's benefit from the resource in a reasonable and fair way. The Renaissance Dam is one of such confirmations. The late Ethiopian Prime Minister Meles Zenawi describes the dam as a monument we erect to bring about the cooperation we aspire to have among the Nile Basin countries. In connection with the dam, we should not be forced to accept the old day agreements that Egypt is claiming, because we never accept the colonial agreement on the Nile as we are not one of the signatories.
The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam would play a significant role for Ethiopia's economic and political advancement. It would also upgrade the bargaining power of the nation at the international forums. Besides, it encourages the countries in the basin to focus on cooperation and restore the declining spirit of partnership. Above all, the dam can be taken as the instrument for the nation to get out of poverty.
የህዳሴ ግድባችን ጉልህ ተጽዕኖ ያመጣል ለኢትዮጵያ ህዝብና አገር ደግሞ ከፍተኛ ጥቅም የሚያስመጣ
The Renaissance Dam would generate huge income for the country This means it would contribute a lot towards the nation's economic growth that reduce poverty. Besides, it will satisfy the demand of 100 million populations for electricity.
The country's annual demand for power is now 35%. This shows that 65% of the nation's total population doesn't have access to the service. They live without electricity in a dark situation. Therefore, we need to ensure access to power to this portion of population. When it comes to Egypt, 97% of its rural communities have access to electricity, and this reached 100% in its urban areas.
The countries are expected to reach agreement as a series of negotiation panels are ahead of them. Ethiopia's position in this regard continues in the future as well. Regarding the issue related to the Nile, the diplomacy journey followed by Ethiopia over the past 2 decades has been successful.